here we finally finished version 0.06 of High Frontier. It took a few weeks because it turns out the built-in physics engine and the Unity game environment isn't accurate enough for the sort of realistic space colony physics simulation we need to do. So we ended up writing our own physics. But we finally got it working, and I thought I'd give you a little demo. So here I am in design mode in High Frontier. I'm going to create a colony with a long, skinny cylinder. Just kind of the worst case for stability. So we'll make it a little bit fatter, longer, and we'll, just for fun, flatten the end caps a little bit. And then to make it a little more interesting, let's add a rotational bearing, and on top of that, a barbell. So there's our barbell. We could make the barbell a little bit longer, increasing the bar length, and we'll make the bells bigger. Nope, that's more bells, but let's make the bell radius a little bit bigger as well. And then let's make sure that everything rotates so that we get a nice level of gravity. And the barbells, let's see, they're pretty long, so we don't have to rotate very fast. How about that? It's pretty good. And then in the cylinder, which can rotate at a different rate thanks to the rotational bearing, let's see, we'll spin that. That's pretty good. 2.64 RPM. And then we'll give it a little bit of shielding just so it looks more interesting. And I guess we could do the same for the barbells. Alright, so there's our essentially two-part space colony. I'll call it example 1. We'll save it and build it. We'll just build in low Earth orbit. Call the actual built colony the same thing as design in this case. And here we go. We've got the two parts. And I won't move the camera, I'll just hold it steady so that you can see already it's starting to tumble over. Even though the barbells alone would be quite stable, but that cylinder, if there's any energy loss at all, it really wants to rotate around its short axis, not its long axis. And you can see it's already starting to do that. And the squawker feed, people haven't really noticed yet, but they should pretty soon. Let's watch and see what happens. Here's a guy, Ron1060 says, "Is it me or is the world wobbling?" Yeah, Ron, it's not you. It's going to be a bad day in the space colony here. Space Clerk 199 wonders, why can't I get this picture to hang straight? So these, of course, are all just randomly generated comments reflecting the fact that your colony is tumbling. And if you watch the number of residents, it's still going up, but as it gets more and more off-axis, the residents will start fleeing, and that number will go down. People are getting rather upset about it now. And if we wait long enough, this colony would actually end up lying sideways, spinning the long way, because that's the minimum energy configuration for a space colony like this. So now I'm going to go back and design a stable space colony. We'll have essentially the same shape, whoops, but we're going to make it much shorter. And this time we'll watch the stability ratio. And as long as this is at least 1.2, we should be in pretty good shape. So there's that. I'm going to make it a little bit shorter because I'm going to attach barbells just like I did before. And now let's, well, actually I could just flatten the end caps more and then I can make this a bit longer. Okay, now let's attach barbells. We'll have 5 bells. Make these a little bit bigger, a little bit longer. I'm not being very precise here, but that's okay. Alright, so that's similar to what we had before. We'll check the spin. Make sure that we get a nice level of gravity in the bells. Oh, these are spinning at the same rate because I forgot to put in a bearing. Let's fix that. Just pop that off there. Add a bearing. Don't really want the bearing there. Want it down here. And attach that, and there we go. Now these can spin at different rates. We'll have, this needs to spin a little bit faster because it's got a smaller radius. Alright, 0.95 is good enough. And we'll give it a little bit of shielding. Although you don't really need shielding in low Earth orbit, but we'll put some on anyways. Call this example 2, save it, build it, in low Earth orbit. And here we are with this space colony. And this one we should find, no matter how long we watch it, it's not going to tumble. It'll stay nice and straight, spinning around the axis that we want. And it's all about conservation of angular momentum and moments of inertia. Fun physics stuff that we've learned a lot more about here than we ever expected to need to know in the last few weeks. So that's the big change for 0.06. I hope you'll give it a try. Check it out at highfrontier.com, and please send me an email and let me know what you think. Thank you.